Marcus Chen's phone recording was found 72 hours after Tech Support Solutions reported him missing from his night shift. What it captured explains why 3 investigators who heard it have since disappeared. This is what was recorded. Before you listen, check if you're alone. What happened to Marcus could happen to anyone working the graveyard shift. October 15, 2024, 2:47 a.m. Rain drummed against the call center windows like skeletal fingers. The red glow of my computer screen felt different that night. Almost alive. Another graveyard shift at Tech Support Solutions. The kind of place where hope goes to die under fluorescent lights. My name is Marcus, 26 years old. I'd been working nights here for 8 months now. Same cubicle, same headset, same endless stream of people whose internet won't work. The pay was terrible. Minimum wage plus $1.50. But it covered rent on my studio apartment where my girlfriend Sarah was probably asleep, waiting for me to come home. Barely covered it, but it was something. I need you to understand. I'm recording this on my iPhone 14 Pro, battery at 67%. The timestamp will prove everything I'm about to tell you actually happened. The building itself was old. Built in 1973, converted from a textile factory into office space in 1994. I'd looked it up once during a boring shift. The carpets were that industrial gray that hides stains, and the walls were painted that specific shade of beige that screams corporate despair. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Some flickered constantly, casting shadows that danced across empty cubicles like living things. During the day, this place buzzed with activity. Sales teams, customer service reps, managers walking around with their clipboards and serious expressions. But at night it was just us graveyard shifters. 5 people scattered across a floor designed for 50. The silence was so complete, it hurt. The rules were simple. They drilled them into us during orientation. Answer calls within 3 rings. Never hang up on a customer, no matter how abusive they get. Log every call in the system with detailed notes. Stay until 6 a.m. sharp. Not a minute earlier, not a minute later. Never leave your station during active hours. And most importantly, never, ever go into the server room on the 3rd floor. That was off limits to everyone except IT management. But that wasn't the strangest part about working there. That night, something felt different from the moment I walked in. The security guard at the front desk. Frank. He'd been there for years, always gave me a nod and a, "How's it going, kid?" But that night, he just stared straight ahead. His eyes were open, but when I waved my hand in front of his face, nothing. Like he was sleepwalking with his eyes open. I should have left then, but I needed the job. The elevator ride to the 4th floor took longer than usual. Normally took 30 seconds. I'd timed it. That night, it felt like minutes. The fluorescent light inside flickered more frantically, and I swear I could hear something humming behind the walls. Not the usual electrical hum, but something deeper. Organic almost, like breathing. When I got to my cubicle, the air tasted metallic, like copper pennies dissolving on my tongue. The usual hum of computers seemed off, lower pitched, almost like breathing. And here's what really bothered me. The coffee stain on my desk that I'd made during my last shift was gone. Someone had cleaned it. But who? Night maintenance didn't come until Thursday, and this was Tuesday. I settled into my chair, put on my headset, and logged into the system. The screen flickered for just a moment, long enough for me to see something that looked like error code scrolling by, but then it stabilized and showed the normal customer queue interface. That's when I realized something was watching me. The first call came at exactly 2 a.m. I know because I was staring at the clock, trying to shake off the feeling that someone was behind me. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. Tech Support Solutions, this is Marcus. How can I help you tonight? My internet keeps cutting out. The voice was flat, mechanical, male, probably middle-aged. I've tried everything. Standard tech support call. I'd done thousands of these, but something about his voice made my skin crawl. Too perfect. Too rehearsed. I went through the usual troubleshooting script. Okay, sir, let's start with the basics. Can you tell me what kind of modem you have? It's a Netgear. The blue one. Perfect. Now I want you to unplug the power cable from the back of the modem, count to 10, then plug it back in. Okay. Unplugging now. 1, 2, 3. He counted all the way to 10, exactly like they always do, but each number sounded identical. Same tone, same inflection, like a recording. Plugging it back in now. Great. Now let's wait about 30 seconds for it to fully boot up. In the meantime, can you check all the cables? Make sure nothing's loose. Everything looks tight. Excellent. Now try connecting to the internet. Open your web browser and go to any website. It's working. The connection is stable now. Perfect, sir. Is there anything else I can help you with tonight? No, thank you. The line went dead with a click that echoed longer than it should have. I logged the call in the system. Customer number 1, 2 a.m. Connection issue. Resolved. Standard modem restart fixed the problem. I glanced at the clock on my computer screen. Still 2 a.m. That was odd. The call had taken at least 5 minutes, but the clock hadn't moved. I looked at my watch. 2 a.m. I looked at the wall clock across the office. 2 a.m. My phone showed the same time. Maybe there was a power surge earlier that reset all the clocks. That had to be it. But the feeling of being watched was getting stronger. But then I started noticing other things that made my blood run cold. The break room light, which had been flickering all week, strobing on and off every few seconds like a broken strobe light, was now completely steady. The motivational poster behind Jerry's cubicle, the one that said teamwork makes the dream work with the picture of the rowing crew. It looked different. Newer, like it had just been printed. And the coffee maker in the break room, I could see it from my cubicle, was making that gurgling sound it makes when it's brewing. But I distinctly remembered unplugging it when I arrived, like I always did. The night shift supervisor had sent out a memo months ago about fire hazards. The smell of fresh coffee drifted over, but coffee shouldn't smell like metal and decay. Ring, 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 ring. Tech Support Solutions, this is Marcus. How can I help you tonight? My internet keeps cutting out. I've tried everything. The same voice, the exact same inflection, even the same slight static in the background. Word for word identical to the previous call. My hands started shaking. I felt a chill run down my spine, but I went through the motions. Same troubleshooting steps. Same responses from the customer. Same resolution. Is there anything else I can help you with tonight? No. Thank you. Click. Clock still read 2 a.m. The third call came immediately. Same voice. Same problem. Same conversation. Word for word. Like someone was playing a recording. By the fourth identical call, I knew something was seriously wrong. The clock never moved past 2 a.m. The rain outside played the same rhythm against the glass. The same pattern of heavy drops followed by lighter pattering, over and over again. Every few minutes I heard Janet from the cubicle behind me clear her throat. The same cough, at the exact same intervals. Then she'd rustle some papers, click her mouse twice and sigh, like a loop, like we were all trapped in some kind of digital loop. I tried calling my supervisor, Mike. He was supposed to be in the building somewhere, probably sleeping in his office like he usually did during night shifts. The phone rang once, then went straight to a dial tone that lasted exactly 7 seconds before cutting to silence. No voicemail. No busy signal, just silence that felt like something was listening. I tried calling the front desk. Same thing. 7 seconds of dial tone, then nothing. I tried calling 911. The call wouldn't go through. I tried leaving my cubicle. I stood up, pushed my chair back, took one step toward the aisle, and my legs wouldn't move any further. Not paralyzed exactly, just stuck. Like my body understood rules my mind hadn't grasped yet. Like there was an invisible barrier I couldn't cross. I sat back down and immediately my legs worked fine again. I could move around in my chair, adjust my position, even stand up, as long as I didn't try to leave the immediate area around my desk. I was trapped, and something was playing with me. Ring, 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 ring. Tech Support Solutions, this is Marcus. How can I help you tonight? This time, I decided to try something different. I stayed quiet. Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? The voice was the same, but there was something different about it now. A crack in the mechanical tone. Desperation bleeding through. Fear. My internet keeps cutting out, he continued, even though I hadn't responded with the usual greeting. I've tried everything. Please. I just need it to work. I've been trying to connect for so long. Sir, I interrupted. What's your name? Silence. Long, uncomfortable silence that stretched until I could hear my own heartbeat. Then, I don't remember. That's strange. I should remember my name, shouldn't I? Everyone should remember their name. Where are you calling from? I'm at home. I think. It's dark here, very dark, and cold, so cold it feels like burning. The power keeps going out. What's the last thing you remember? I was at work. There was a storm, the lights went out, and then nothing. Just this phone, and the need to call tech support. The internet has to work. It has to. The line went dead with a sound like breaking glass. My computer screen flickered, and for just a moment I saw something that made no sense. Lines of code scrolling by too fast to read, but one phrase kept repeating in blood-red letters: temporal loop active. Maintain essential functions. Temporal loop active. Then the screen returned to normal, showing the call log. What I saw there made my blood freeze. Customer number 1, 2 a.m., connection issue, unresolved. Customer number 1, 2 a.m., connection issue, unresolved. Customer number 1, 2 a.m., connection issue, unresolved. The entries went on and on. Hundreds of them. All the same customer. All at 2 a.m., all unresolved. And that wasn't the worst part. I tried to scroll up in the system, looking for older calls, different customers, anything that would make sense. Instead, I found something that made everything worse. Employee log, Marcus Chen. Shift start, 2 a.m. Shift end, pending. Status, active loop number 847. Termination condition, resolve customer number 1. Loop duration, 35 days, 7 hours, 23 minutes. 847 loops. I'd been reliving the same hour for over a month. 35 days of the same phone call, the same conversation, the same impossible situation. But that was impossible. I remembered coming to work every night. I remembered going home every morning to Sarah. I remembered eating breakfast, sleeping, watching Netflix, paying bills. How could I have been stuck in a time loop without knowing it? Unless those memories were fake, implanted. Or maybe I was only conscious during these loops, and the rest was just nothing. I tried to remember yesterday. What had I done before coming to work? I'd woken up in my apartment, made coffee, watched the news, taken a shower, gotten dressed, driven to work. But the more I tried to focus on those memories, the fuzzier they became. Like trying to remember a dream. Sarah. What did Sarah look like? I could picture her. Brown hair, green eyes. But when I tried to focus on her face, it became blurry, indistinct. Had there ever been a Sarah? The phone rang again. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. This time, I answered immediately. Hello, I said, skipping the company greeting entirely. I know you've called before, many times. Marcus? The voice was clearer now, more human. The mechanical quality was gone. Is that really you? Are you finally hearing me? You're not really a customer, are you? No. I'm... A long pause filled with static that sounded like screaming. I was the night shift supervisor, David Morrison. 3 months ago there was an accident. A bad storm knocked out power to most of the city. The servers overloaded when the backup generators kicked in, and something went wrong with the emergency protocols. My hands began to shake. What kind of protocols? The company, Tech Support Solutions, they're not just a tech support company, Marcus. They have contracts with entities that, well, let's say they're not entirely from our dimension. Insurance policies that aren't quite legal in our reality. When critical infrastructure fails, when there's a risk of losing essential data or functions, the system activates preservation protocols. The air got colder. I could see my breath. What does that mean? It means they trap key personnel in temporal maintenance loops to keep essential systems running while repairs are made. But something went wrong. The repairs never came. The loops just kept going and going and going. I felt sick. How long have you been trapped? I don't know. Time doesn't work the same way here. Could be months, could be years. But Marcus, you're the first person who's been able to hear me properly. Everyone else just goes through the motions. Everyone else? Janet's in her own loop. Answers the same insurance claim call over and over. Mike's trapped in his office, reviewing the same report for eternity. Frank at the security desk. He's been staring at the same security monitor feed for who knows how long. I looked over at Janet's cubicle. She was typing, but her fingers weren't touching the keys. Just moving through the air above the keyboard. That's insane. That's impossible. Read your employment contract, Marcus. Page 47, subsection C. I bet you never read the fine print, did you? None of us ever do. I frantically opened my desk drawer. Found my contract, still in its manila folder from my first day. The pages felt cold, like they'd been sitting in a freezer. I flipped through them. 44, 45, 46, 47. There it was, in tiny print at the bottom of the page. Employee agrees to participate in emergency preservation protocols as needed for business continuity. In the event of catastrophic system failure, designated personnel may be retained in temporal stasis to maintain essential operations until normal function is restored. This can't be legal, I whispered. It's not. But it doesn't matter. We signed it. We agreed to it, even if we didn't understand what it meant. The things they contracted with. They don't care about our laws. How do I get out? How do we get out? You have to actually fix my internet connection, David said, and I could hear him smiling sadly through the phone. My connection has been broken since the day I died in this building. The system won't release either of us until the original problem is resolved. But how? You're dead. Yes. I was electrocuted when the servers overloaded, but my user profile is still in the system. Account number 1 in the employee database. If you can access the administrative panel and reset my connection status from active to terminated, the loop should break. I don't have administrative access. You do now. The system has been upgrading your permissions with each loop, trying to give you the tools you need to resolve the issue. Check your access level. I navigated to the employee management system with trembling fingers. Sure enough, my access level showed as temporal administrator. Emergency protocols active. I found account number 1, David Morrison, night supervisor, status, active. My finger hovered over the drop-down menu. Active. Terminated. David? Yeah. Marcus? Will this hurt? For you, I mean. I don't think so. I've been ready to go for a long time. The pain stopped a while ago. Now it's just existence. But Marcus, there's something else you should know before you do this. Something that changes everything. My blood went cold. What? The loop has been running for months in our time, but only hours have passed in the real world. However, the system had to make certain adjustments to maintain the illusion, as far as the outside world is concerned, as far as official records go. You died in the same electrical accident that killed me. The rain outside seemed to get louder, more violent. Your apartment lease was terminated. Your bank accounts were closed. Your car was impounded and eventually sold. Your family, they had a funeral for you, Marcus. You've been declared legally dead. I felt like I was drowning in ice water. But I can feel my heartbeat. I'm breathing. I'm thinking. I'm alive. You are alive. But the world thinks you're not. If you break this loop, if you try to return to your old life, you'll find that Marcus Chen officially doesn't exist anymore. The fluorescent lights above me flickered in a pattern that almost looked like Morse code. But David continued, if you stay in the loop, you'll have a job forever. Same cubicle, same routine, same paycheck that gets deposited into an account that still exists in this temporal bubble. No rent to pay, no bills, no worries about tomorrow. Just this, forever. I stared at the drop-down menu on my screen. Active. Terminated. 2 choices. Free David and face a world where I'm legally dead, where I have no identity, no home, no future. Or stay trapped in this temporal prison with a steady paycheck and the illusion of safety. What would you do? I asked. I'd choose freedom, David said quietly. Even if it's scary, even if it's uncertain, because this isn't really living, Marcus. This is just existing, going through the motions. You deserve more than that. The phone rang on another line. Janet's line. I could hear her answering in her monotone voice. Claims department. This is Janet. How can I help you? The same words she'd been saying for months. Her voice was getting hoarser with each loop. I thought about my family, my parents, who thought I was dead, my sister, who'd probably cried at my funeral. They'd grieved for me, moved on, started healing. If I suddenly appeared, alive, with no legal identity and no way to prove who I was, would that be mercy or cruelty? But then I thought about David, trapped in this digital purgatory, and Janet, and Mike, and Frank. All of us caught in an endless cycle because of fine print in a contract we'd never really read. The phone rang again. Same time, same customer, same problem. Ring, 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 ring. I looked at the screen. Active, terminated. My finger moved to the mouse. The plastic felt warm, almost alive under my touch. I clicked. Terminated. The world went white. Pure, blinding white that felt like falling into the sun. Static filled my ears, but underneath it I could hear David's voice one last time. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for setting us free. And then, silence. Perfect, absolute silence. I woke up in a hospital bed. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, but these were different. Warmer, real. They didn't flicker. The smell was wrong, though. Too clean, too sterile. Like they were trying to hide something. A doctor smiled at me, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. You've been in a coma for 3 months, Mr. Chen. There was an electrical accident at your workplace. We weren't sure you'd wake up. I tried to speak, but my throat was raw from the breathing tube. When I finally managed to croak out words, I asked, what happened to the others? Her smile faltered. What others, Mr. Chen? David, Janet, Mike, Frank. I'm sorry, but you were the only survivor. The electrical fire killed 4 other employees. You're very lucky to be alive. I tried to speak again, but she held up her hand. Don't try to talk too much yet. You're going to be fine. Your employer's insurance is covering everything, and they've been very understanding about your situation. There will be some paperwork to sort out. Apparently there was some confusion about your status, but we'll get that resolved. She handed me a clipboard. Just need you to sign this continuation of coverage form when you're feeling up to it. I looked at the paper with growing dread. Standard medical insurance stuff at first glance. But at the bottom, in tiny print that seemed to squirm and move when I wasn't looking directly at it, I saw it. Patient agrees to participate in extended care protocols as needed for optimal recovery. My hand shook as I held the pen. The same words. Different situation. Same trap. Outside my hospital window, rain began to fall. The exact same pattern I'd heard for 847 loops. The clock on the wall read 2 a.m. Somewhere in the distance, I heard a phone ringing. Ring, ring. Ring, ring. I looked down at the form again. The fine print had changed. Patient agrees to participate in extended care protocols as needed for optimal recovery. In the event of medical complications, designated patients may be retained in therapeutic stasis to maintain essential treatment until normal function is restored. The doctor's smile widened, showing too many teeth. Welcome to your recovery, Mr. Chen. The phone kept ringing, and I realized I was never getting out. Have you ever wondered what's really in the fine print of the contracts you sign? The employment agreements? The medical forms? The terms of service you click accept without reading? What would you have done differently? Are you sure you're